Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the latest move from the government to deal with their Brexit lorry driver shortage mess, which is not just an act of pure desperation, though for once might do some good for all I know, might actually work a little bit anyway, but it also highlights the deeply damaging nature of their extreme Tory Brexit. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. Right then, this is a good one. So we have a severe lorry driver shortage in the UK, leading to critical shortages of essential and non-essential goods in Britain that people are now noticing. Oh, it's the same everywhere. There's a shortage of lorry drivers in the EU, you know. Yes, but there isn't a shortage of goods on the shelves or petrol in the pumps, is there? Well, I heard the minister say that there were. And it's nothing to do with Brexit. Yeah, they were lying. But I don't need to bother much with that line of argument anymore. As a result of our desperate situation, the Department of Transport have announced what they claim is a 24th measure. I don't know what all of the 23 others were, but a temporary extension to cabotage rights for all foreign drivers in the UK. That means EU drivers. It's only an extension for 2 weeks, but that will be just a case of what they've been doing so far, not alarming the Brexit gammons by claiming that it's very limited, and then they'll ease the limitations once it's no longer topical. You know, like they said, the original visas they gave out last month, it's only going to last them until Christmas Eve. Yeah, that's not the case anymore. Expect this extension to be indefinite. But what is cabotage? Well, some of you will know because we've discussed this before on the channel, but in a nutshell, haulage companies get paid for transporting goods, obvious enough, but there are two things about Brexit that knacker this business arrangement. First of all, he's been stuck at a customs border of the like that now exists between Britain and everywhere. If the lorry isn't moving, the haulage company isn't being paid. They are paid on a cost per mile basis. Not doing any miles, not getting any money. But the driver still needs paying to wait around looking for an empty bottle to piss in while the customs border organisation deals with their paperwork. The second problem is driving around, so putting the miles in, but without anything in the back of the lorry. Who's paying for that? Well, nobody, obviously, there's nothing there. So the efficient way to manage this is by, say, if you need to take a load from Hull, near me, to Dieppe, when you get there, you don't just want to turn around and come back because that's all those hundreds of miles without anything in the back. You're not getting paid anything. So you arrange to pick up another load there or near there. You know, you then take it somewhere else. You then pick up another if possible. Your logistics team will try and work out a route, a circuit, that means you have a load in the back for most of your journey. Maximise the money coming in. Maximise the amount of time that you are travelling with something in the back of that lorry. Keeping the cost down for customers while you're at it. Everyone's happy, except Brexiteers, apparently, so they scuppered this idea. Because that is cabotage, and it is only permitted in the EEA for EEA drivers, and it's only allowed in Britain for British and Irish drivers. So we've gone from having empty lorries, about 30% of the time, to 60% of the time, as a result of Brexit. And that figure may be even worse now, because that's, you know, a bit outdated. So why have the government suspended the block on EU drivers doing this in Britain? Well, our critical shortages are going into full meltdown without an intervention. I already talked this morning about how some of our Christmas shortages are now certain. It doesn't matter what happens, we have shortages this Christmas. But it isn't just about Christmas. This is all permanent. The situation is ready to blow. Crisis after crisis after crisis has bombarded our supply chain and it is breaking. We need more lorries delivering in the country. That's all there is to it. We need more lorries rolling. The government's last gambit was to issue 5,000 visas for HGV drivers. We got 20 out of it. 20 out of 5,000 is not a successful operation. So now they've announced that EU drivers can have cabotage rights here. This still won't unlock the floodgates, I imagine. EU drivers will still have to put up with that customs border on the way out of Britain. Again, remember, there's two issues that Brexit has caused for lorry firms, you know. But perhaps that they could work out a route that comes into Britain, for which there are no checks, but exits via Northern Ireland, for which there are far fewer. Might be easier. But regardless of any barriers, it still means that EU drivers will now be able to pick up and drop off as many loads as they like in Britain. Now, the reason we're doing this is that the government now accept that we desperately need to get foreign drivers into the country somehow. They've given up on any notion of we can manage this ourselves. Of course we can't. We need foreign drivers, foreign lorries into the country, and we need them urgently. We actually needed them urgently months ago, but we can certainly wait no longer. But the upshot of this is as follows. One, we have given EU businesses another competitive advantage over British businesses. An EU haulage company can now once again work out a route of deliveries that includes the whole of the EEA plus the entire UK on top. A British haulage business can only carry out unlimited deliveries in the UK. So a British business cannot operate efficiently on an international level, even with our immediate neighbours. This is on top of the existing competitive advantage that we gave EU businesses by not applying customs controls on imports. So an EU business can export relatively easily to Britain because there are no checks on those goods. But a British business exporting to the EU is subject to full checks and full restrictions. The second consequence is that the government have clearly highlighted the issue as a Brexit problem now. That's what they've done. They issued visas, reversing an aspect of their Brexit. They have now given cabotage rights to EU drivers, something that has not been reciprocated. This highlights the damage Brexit is doing because the government's solution is to reverse Brexit. If Brexit were not the problem, then how could reversing relevant aspects of Brexit possibly be part of the solution? We have now given EU lorry drivers freedom of movement in Britain, but the EU has not done the same for British lorry drivers. If the problems are everywhere, how come the EU aren't as desperate as we are? How come they haven't extended cabotage rights for British lorries? This is yet another non-reciprocated move from the government, which is a clear admission that their extreme Tory Brexit is too damaging to us. Sure, any form of Brexit is damaging, and they know that. There are several members of this Tory government, including the head of it, who seems to have gone missing in Spain, being mistaken for a Yeti by the Daily Star, who explained very clearly how Brexit would be damaging to the UK. Even our supposedly hardline Brexit minister David Frost talked in 2015 about it being essential that we remained in the single market or we would suffer economic harm. Any reversal of Brexit red lines is a frank admission that it is causing more harm than good. Not that anyone can point out the good that it's causing, but the harm is obvious. Because never mind the fact that the Transport Minister Grant Shapps tried to smudge the Brexit link with talks of it being a global lorry driver shortage, he's announced a reversal of Brexit. That's really all there is to it. And something else. I already said that I expect the 2-week cabotage to be extended. I mean, 2 weeks, that's ridiculous. What's that supposed to do? The reason being, 2 weeks isn't going to deal with the mess we're in. And let's say it were. Let us say with just 2 weeks of having some lorry drivers, we could sort the problems that have been building for half a year. That's just ludicrous to suppose. But okay, let's just say. Let's go in fantasy land for once. What then? Is the minister seriously suggesting that we then go back to the current situation that landed us in severe trouble again in November, when the demand for deliveries increases still more as we approach the festive season, as the weather worsens, making it more difficult for lorries to complete their journeys in the same time as well? Is he off his rocker? And even in the new year, when the level of trade naturally calms down quite a lot, what then? We still need a supply chain. We still don't have enough workers in it to maintain it. Even if the government wanted to manage a phased reduction in our market, shrink it all down, you can't do it all at once. If the availability of goods in Britain goes down slowly over time, the sheeple who keep voting for them might well not notice. But all at once, I think people will notice that. So this supposedly temporary reversal of Brexit has to become long-term at least, or we'll end up in the same mess again next year. In fact, we'll still end up in the same mess this year, because 2 weeks isn't going to even deal with it this year. And if they don't do something to improve the working conditions for lorry drivers, as has already been taking place in the EU, then we could find ourselves in a bigger mess, because the difference in quality of life for a lorry driver in the EU and Britain, if it diverges much more, that's even more reasons for drivers not to come to Britain. Because I don't even know how successful this cabotage move will be. I can see that it might be more effective than the visas plan. But as the gammons are keen to keep pointing out, there's shortages of lorry drivers in the EU as well, don't you know? Yeah, so it's not like they're desperate for work that they will now come flood into Britain, is it? Some inevitably will, because, you know, if there's demand for them to bring loads to Britain, of course, it makes sense for them to do a circuit again. So yes, that will help. But I just don't know how many it's going to attract. But of course, we can pick this up when the situation goes from speculation to has actually happened, and we can look at the data. Until then, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.